What's wrong, Ted, man? You look kind of distracted.
I got a game coming up. I'm going to play a fighter, and I just don't know which fighting style is the best or which one I should take for my character.
Well, let's look at D&D fighting styles best to worst. Welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds. I'm Nerdarchy Dave, and as usual, I'm joined by this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
If you're looking for more D&D videos, swing away at that subscribe button.
And if it's more Nerdarchy videos you're after, extra attack that notification bell so you don't miss a single video.
All right. Hey, you can't get enough Nerdarchy? Check out Nerdarchy, the newsletter, where you can get news, homebrews, and so much more about us, 5e D&D, delivered right to your inbox. There is a link down in the description to sign up for the newsletter. Not only that, you also get a coupon code for $9.99 over on our store, which means pay less for stuff, get free stuff, whatever you want to use that store credit of $9.99 for. Down in the description, you'll find that link to the newsletter. Now let's start talking about fighting styles, and we can start ranking them from the best to the worst, or from the worst to the best. I don't know, however you want to rank them, Ted.
All right, well, with Tasha's, Cauldron of Everything just recently released, we've gone from 6 fighting styles up to 13. So that's pretty darn impressive. We've more than doubled what our options are. I'm pretty excited about that.
Not only that, we also get a feat that allows us to take any fighting style with fighting initiate that's listed on the fighters list. Now, that doesn't give us access to all the fighting styles, but man, 11 out of 13 ain't bad.
Yeah, we don't get the 2 that offer up, the cleric or druid cantrips, but you know what? That's fine.
So also, I feel like the complexity has gone up in the new fighting styles. Yeah, they use a lot more text for each one than they did for the initial ones.
You mean, +1 to armor class or +2 with ranged weapons doesn't quite cut it anymore?
I guess not, because it was like they could describe the fighting style with a line of text, and now like they all have like 3 or 4 lines of text.
Well, I mean, they offer so much, and clearly, we're doing this, so there is some kind of pecking order, if you will, of where things go, and everybody's going to have what their favorites are based on their own particular playing style of what happens at their table, and the type of characters that they enjoy playing. But we figured this would be a fun way to really get in there, look at them more in depth, and as you said, kind of rank them from our favorite to our least favorite.
Okay, so real quick, we're just going to go over what all the fighting styles are, not verbatim, but get the gist. First up, we have blind fighting. This is one of the new ones. Basically, blind sight out to 10 feet. You know what's going on around you. Allows you to attack things you can't see.
Interception is kind of that. It's basically like your parry. You get to reduce the damage by, a D10, plus your proficiency modifier. It's helpful at times. Definitely works with, damage mitigation.
Superior technique is kind of cool. It lets you choose one battle master maneuver. You get a die 6. You can use it once per short rest if you already have them, but you're just going to add to them.
Thrown weapon fighting. This is a great one. So much so that we had to do a video talking about this one. It allows you to draw a weapon as part of your attack of throwing it. Super handy, and if you're looking to throw a lot of stuff, this is clearly the fighting style for you.
Plus extra damage. Unarmed fighting, basically unarmed, you can do a die 6 or a die 8, and you can also grapple and do damage every round. You're like a monk, only better.
Blessed Warrior, this is the one that's available to the Paladin that allows them to choose 2 cleric cantrips and add that to their spell list.
Druidic Warrior, it's just like Blessed Warrior, but for rangers, and you get to choose Druid cantrips instead.
Archery, this is one of the ones that's out of the player's handbook that just gives you a +2 to damage rolls with ranged weapons.
Yeah, all the rest of these are out of the player's handbook. Next up, we got defense. Just get a +1 to armor class anytime you're wearing armor.
Dueling, as long as you're using one weapon in one hand, you get a +2 to damage.
Great weapon fighting. Use a big weapon, roll 1s or 2s, get to re-roll them, use the new roll.
Protection. This is another one that, uses your reaction. Somebody's attacked within 5 feet of you. You can intercept and apply disadvantage to the roll.
2-weapon fighting. Want to use a weapon in each hand and still get your modifier to the damage in that offhand? You're going to want to take this one. So that's all of them in a nutshell, right? Before we kind of like rank them, there's 2 that are very similar. And then at first I was kind of like, well, why would you ever take this one? And I really had to think about it, right? So interception and protection, both are very similar. You need to have a shield in hand or shield and weapon in hand, be within 5 foot of an ally, and also have your reaction available. So I was like, when they introduced interception, I'm like, is this worth taking? I mean, you already have the protection style. Wouldn't this one kind of be better?
Well, the one is going to apply disadvantage to the roll, where the other one can just reduce the damage. So both could technically result in a loss of essentially a net zero. The attack missed or the damage is brought down. But sometimes it's easier to just say, I want to reduce the damage, than it is to say, well, I want to make the chance that maybe they won't hit.
Yeah, so I kind of started thinking about, one, interception does not scale as well as protection, because protection is just always as good as it is. Interception, eventually you're going to get your +6, starts at a +2, goes up to a +6. So a maximum of negating 16 points of damage. Kind of cool. But I guess the thing about interception is you don't have to use your reaction unless you need it. With protection, what if they missed anyway, right? And you used your, they rolled 2 1s or whatever. You used a reaction, it's gone, you can't use it. Interception, if they miss, you don't have to use a reaction. So it's still there in case you need it for something else. And also with interception, though, it also relies on someone actually having to have been hit. So that's not particularly great either, where protection might actually negate the hit. Or disadvantage and advantage is a cool mechanic, but at the same time, there's instances where they just don't matter. You roll 2 1s, you roll a 1 and a 2, you roll 2 20s, you roll an 18 and a 19. It just didn't make a difference either way. And it feels less satisfying when that happens. So there's that. I just wanted to throw that caveat in there before we actually get to ranking them.
All right, so I figured might as well start at the bottom and work our way up. So we've kind of combined some together. So while there are 13, we're gonna lump this, and we're gonna say that the worst of the fighting styles is going to be Blessed Warrior, and this is because there are only 9 cleric cantrips. The cantrips are not really super apropos for these super martial types. They're going to be doing so much more damage using their melee weapons or ranged weapons than they are going to be using cantrips. So there might be certain niches where they work, but for most characters, I would probably avoid this one.
It's definitely an interesting character choice. I don't know about a good one. But that doesn't matter, right? Like for a role playing and other things in the game, you may not care about, just being the best at combat, right? So it can be more interesting. But so we did rank Blessed Warrior as being the worst, the second worst being Druidic Warrior. The reason why this is so much better than Blessed Warrior is twice as many choices, and the choices are far more diverse from the Druid cantrip list than they are from the Cleric cantrip list. So, I mean, unless you're really dying to get Spare the Dying, you're a paladin. You could
Spare the Dying and Guidance are nice spells and good to be able to have regardless of, what the rest of the party makeup is, but it's a tough choice to be able to, not get, any of the other fabulous feats that a ranger would have access to.
Yeah, so I mean, fighting styles, but I even like mending, or not mending, but guidance you can get as a druid as well. That's why I just think the druidic warrior is so much better for the ranger than Blessed Warrior is for the paladin.
Right.
And again, these are just interesting choices that you can make that really differentiate your ranger or paladin from others. But I mean, they're martial classes, so at the end of the day, generally martial classes are better off being martial than having these flavor things in. And that caveat being a better way to get it, in my opinion, would have been to just take Magic Initiate, right? And then have access to kind of this stuff anyway. So that's 11 and 10. Number 9 is blind fighting.
Yeah, this one, like, there are so few cases over our many sessions of 5th edition D&D where this would be helpful. Maybe your gaming is different, but it has not really come up all that often. So yeah,
it's kind of niche. It still can be fun and cool. You know where it really shines, in my opinion, and is great, is if there's a reason for you to get a second fighting style. Like then, like I would bump this up the list because it's cool and flavorful, and you have a specific build you want to do. You're playing a drow, you know, it would be great for that, but it's super niche. Number 8 is going to be unarmed fighting. Again, it's kind of a great one that steps all over the monk's toes, but again, you have to be making a very specific type of build.
Yeah, with this one, I don't like it because I feel it's overpowered. As Dave says, it steps all over the monk's toes. You know, oh, you want to be a great monk? Play a fighter and take this. You're there. You can wear armor, and you do so much better. You know, right from the beginning. You know, but if this is what you're really looking for, then by all means. Next up, superior technique. We're starting to you know climb that ladder and get into some of the better ones. I love the Battlemaster maneuvers. You know, you get one die, you get one technique. This is a really fun thing if you're going to play a Battlemaster and you want to be able to get access to it right away. I'm going to play a human fighter. I'm going to take superior technique as my fighting style. I'm going to take martial adept as my feat, and I am already super battle mastery right from level 1. That's a great way to go, and then you eventually get to Battlemaster when you get to level 3. So combining all of those things together, you know, thumbs up.
The reason it's at number 7 is just like, you're not going to get to use it that much. Once every short rest, you get to do a cool thing. Compared to the other fighting styles, you're going to be doing cool things far more often. And arguably 7 and 8 could have been reversed, possibly. I don't know. It just depends what you're going for. Number 6 is protection. Just because I think the other ones are better, and this is just going to suck your reaction all the time. But if you wanted to use it, it's there.
Number 5 is interception. We rank this one above protection because we find that the stories go, the games are at lower levels, so that just ability to not waste your reactions and be able to just mitigate the damage to some degree every time it's used. We definitely thought it was better.
Yeah, you're going to use it when you need it, not when you might need it. That makes it better. Great weapon fighting comes in at number 4, only because it relies on you rolling badly, right? For whatever the big weapon you're using, you have to roll 1 or 2, then you get to re-roll it. So maybe you're really good at rolling dice and you never roll 1s and 2s, so it just doesn't come up.
Number 3 is going to be 2-weapon fighting. This is fabulous for anyone that's, using that offhand attack. So getting that modifier to your damage, super helpful, and it's going to be to every single round that you're making those offhand attacks. So that extra damage is going to add up over the course of a long campaign.
Yeah, and that's why I ranked it above great weapon fighting, because literally every round, this is probably going to come up and you're going to use it, as long as you have that bonus action valuable to you. Number 2 is defense. And you know what? If you're wearing armor, having just one better in armor is never going to not be useful.
I mean, the number of times that as a player or a DM, I've missed by 1 is more times than I would care to count. And sometimes those things are affected, by that defense fighting style, or any other time where you can get just that 1 extra, it's fabulous. So I would take this, pretty frequently.
Not only that, most of the fighting styles require you to be some kind of specialist. And if you're a generalist, defense is a great one to go with, because it doesn't interfere with anything else you're going to do, and it's going to just be useful all the time. Number 1 was tricky. We actually threw 3 in here, right? And this is just based on what kind of fighter you want to be. What kind of warrior are you? Archery, dueling, thrown weapon fighting. The reason why these outweigh all of the rest is because they come up every time you make an attack, right? If you hit or make an attack, these are gonna come up. Bounded accuracy is so important and so integral. The 5e extra bonuses don't come often. So when you can get them on this regularly, archery might even be number 1 and the others are tied for number 2, but only because it's like every time you make an attack with a ranged weapon, +2 to hit. Bounded accuracy, I mean, that's a third of the very best you can get from your proficiency bonus. It is what your proficiency bonus is when you start the game. Dueling, go ahead.
So literally having that being twice as good as everyone else before, you know, you begin applying the stat modifier, like, this is the dead shot, you know, at archery competitions right out the gate. This is amazing. And as Dave says, bounded accuracy is so clutch. So, you know, if you get, the typical, proficiency modifier of +6, a maximum dexterity of 20, it's a plus 11. You're at a +13 before you apply, magic items to that. And that's a significant difference to the best that you could possibly be. When you look at it from the other side, you're at a 7 where other people are only at a 5.
Yeah. So, I've just convinced myself to bump the other 2 to number 2 on the list and archery number 1 because of that. And so dueling and thrown weapon fighting are very similar in the sense that they give you a +2 to damage. Dueling, as long as you don't have another weapon in your offhand and you're not wielding a weapon with 2 hands, +2 to damage. This is awesome if you're a sword and board fighter, because your medium damage comes up, maybe, and it actually kind of puts you close to what the person with the big weapon is doing in damage anyway. And then thrown weapon fighting, again, +2 to damage. Nice. Using smaller weapons, so you're going to rely on those pluses more than you are the weapon damage a lot of times, and it also gives you the benefit of draw and attack as the same action.
So there you go. There's our list. Tell us what we got right. Tell us what we got wrong down in the comments below.
Did you like this video and you want to see us talk about more fighting styles? Then check out this video combining 5e D&D fighting styles with 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons feats.
Want to get some cool stuff and help support Nerdarchy at the same time? Then check us out over on Patreon.
Over there, our patrons get access to our monthly 5e content, monthly giveaways, monthly fan games, and so much more.
So until next time,
stay nerdy.